Dear Democrats, defenders of justice and decency, prepare yourselves. What is about to be revealed is not just another Donald Trump scandal. It is irrefutable proof of a pattern, a culture of impunity and contempt for the law that has infiltrated the highest levels of power, protecting sexual predators and human traffickers. This is not an isolated lapse in judgment. It is the very essence, the toxic DNA of the MAGA movement. For years, the name Jeffrey Epstein has hovered like a ghost over the global elite, a macabre symbol of how money and influence can silence victims, corrupt the system, and derail justice. Trump's closeness to Epstein is a dark chapter history will never forget, a warning of what was to come. But what happens when that same pattern of criminal behavior, sexual abuse, exploitation of women, and human trafficking finds shelter and active protection inside Donald Trump's White House? The answer is an international-scale scandal that demands the attention and outrage of every conscious citizen. The link between Trump and Epstein is already a documented fact, but now a new and even intimate connection emerges, involving the MAGA movement, Trump's sons, and the release of men accused of heinous crimes, human trafficking, rape, and sexual exploitation of women. We are talking about the Tate brothers, Andrew and Tristan, controversial yet extremely influential figures with millions of followers on social media who became icons of the radical right and right-wing influencers. They were accused in Romania and the United Kingdom of acts of abuse that shock the human conscience. Their case, much like Epstein's, seemed destined to become yet another story of denied justice. The victims, women who were deceived, coerced into working in pornographic films, kept under constant surveillance, and financially and psychologically punished if they cried on camera or broke arbitrary rules imposed by their abusers. The resemblance to the Epstein case is terrifying and intentional. In both scenarios, we see powerful men with vast influence networks and significant fortunes using their status to commit sexual crimes and then mobilizing their resources and political connections to avoid any legal consequences. The crucial difference and the core of this investigation is that in the Tate case, the protection came directly from the heart of American political power, under the banner of the MAGA movement. That transforms an individual crime into a state-level scandal, where American diplomacy was perverted to serve criminal interests. But the question that refuses to go away, the one that anchors this entire story, is: how did these men, facing such grave and detailed accusations, manage to escape justice? The New York Times has just published a bombshell report shedding light on the darkest side of the Trump administration. According to a meticulous investigation, a sealed 360-page indictment in Romania was about to be reviewed and formally presented. Justice, slow but relentless, was finally on its way. Then, the unthinkable happened. The justice system was sabotaged. Someone from within Donald Trump's inner circle acted. A federal investigation into the Tate brothers was abruptly and inexplicably halted. Even more shocking, their release in Romania was orchestrated by a U.S. White House official, a special envoy of Trump himself. Consider the gravity of this. While women who were victims of rape and trafficking cried out for justice and waited for a fair trial, a representative of the U.S. government, supposedly appointed to handle national security and complex diplomacy with Ukraine and Venezuela, was actively working to free accused sexual criminals. The cynicism is chilling. A Romanian official, stunned by the blatant interference, reportedly remarked, "Perhaps this U.S. official saw himself as someone who would free all American hostages around the world." The irony is cruel and enraging. He was freeing men accused of crimes against women, not hostages. Diplomatic intervention, meant to protect American interests, was weaponized to shield sexual predators, revealing a complete inversion of priorities and moral values within the Trump administration. Trump's intervention was so effective that it halted a federal investigation into the Tate brothers when they landed in Florida. The sealed 360-page Romanian indictment, detailing the crimes extensively, was shelved. And what were the crimes the Trump administration rushed to bury?
The New York Times gained access to the charges and revealed the method of exploitation. The Tate brothers deceived women into believing they were in serious relationships, then coerced them into producing pornographic content. The women were kept under surveillance, had their movements restricted, and in a form of financial and psychological control, had their pay docked if they cried on camera or violated arbitrary rules. But the depravity goes even further. The newspaper obtained text messages in which the Tate brothers openly discussed that if a woman wanted to leave, they should beat her and make sure she didn't take her belongings. This is planned physical violence, coercion, and human trafficking. The cruelty and cold calculation behind these acts prove that the Trump administration was willing to sacrifice women's safety in exchange for political alliances. This is the filth Donald Trump and the MAGA movement chose to protect. The defense of the Tate brothers by prominent MAGA figures such as Tucker Carlson, Alina Habba, Megyn Kelly, and Candace Owens is not an isolated lapse in judgment. It is the manifestation of a deeply rooted ideology. Candace Owens even declared in a statement that echoes primitive misogyny, "That's just how men are." That sentence encapsulates the culture Trump and his followers promote, a culture of systemic misogyny that normalizes abuse, exploitation, and violence against women. It is a direct assault on democratic values of equality, dignity, and justice. What we are witnessing is the institutionalization of violence against women, disguised as politics and culture war. Supporting these criminals is an endorsement of their ideology of domination. MAGA rhetoric is not just about taxes or borders. It is fundamentally about the subjugation of women and the glorification of a toxic, predatory model of masculinity. To understand how deeply this ideology is embedded, one need only look at the figures MAGA elevates and amplifies. Nick Fuentes, a major influence within the movement, was asked about women's right to vote. His response is a punch to the gut of anyone who values equality and democracy. Do you think they should have the right to vote? No, absolutely not. They should stay at home. He added with contempt and disdain, "All women are annoying. All women age. All women get fat." This is not the isolated opinion of a fringe extremist. It is the echo of the mentality that allows a president to use the power of the state to protect human traffickers. It is the same worldview that sees women not as full citizens with rights and autonomy, but as property, objects to be controlled, silenced, and confined to the home. This worldview is fundamentally incompatible with the principles of a free and just society. The rise of figures like Fuentes and the protection afforded to the Tate brothers show that the MAGA movement is not merely conservative, it is reactionary and poses a direct threat to hard-won social progress and civil rights. What this scandal reveals is more than the immorality of one president. It exposes the moral collapse of an entire political movement. The White House's intervention in the Tate case is not a diplomatic miscalculation. It is a declaration that under MAGA, law and justice are tools of power and ideology, not universal principles. For the democratic public, this is definitive proof that the fight against Trump is above all a defense of society's core values, the rule of law against tyranny, equality against misogyny, and decency against depravity. The way the Trump administration used the machinery of the state to protect sexual criminals sets a dangerous precedent that erodes trust in institutions and encourages impunity. Every day, new evidence emerges reinforcing the thesis that the MAGA movement operates in a gray zone where truth is malleable and ethics are disposable. The public defense of the Tate brothers by figures like Tucker Carlson, reaching millions of households, is not just an endorsement of individuals, it is the normalization of a culture of abuse. It sends a clear message. If you are a Trump ally, you are above the law, even if your crimes involve trafficking and exploiting vulnerable women. That is why the fight against Trump is not merely political. It is a fight for decency, morality, and human rights. It is a fight to ensure the White House is never again used as a refuge for sexual criminals, and that victims' voices are heard, validated, and respected. The future of equality, justice, and democracy itself depends on how we respond to this shocking and revolting revelation. We cannot allow this culture of impunity to thrive. The time to act is now. We must use this scandal as a catalyst to mobilize every voter, every citizen who believes in a country where the law applies to everyone and where women's dignity is non-negotiable. The vote is our most powerful weapon against this tide of misogyny and corruption. The Tate case is a grim reminder of what happens when power falls into the wrong hands. History will judge us by our response.